Given all these threats out there, like how do you maintain privacy in this new world? Like what can we do to protect ourselves?
I think there are some common sense things you can do, and there are some things that the the company, whether it's big or small, will need to do. So I think as an individual, what you can do is, people care about, we recently released as UNICEF something called a security index.
Yeah.
It showed that people have a lot of fear for their identity. They care about their identity being stolen even more than they think the fear of the terrorist attack might be, just because I think that has been countered much better over the last maybe 20 years or so. And so I think what people can do is, one, obviously, have the hygiene in terms of making sure that they're checking somebody using their credit or something like that, right? They have some level, like now a lot of sites let you monitor your credit or your credit score. So certainly if they see somebody applying credit for them, they know there's something going on. That's what they could do for their identity. For the machines, they have to make sure they keep on with the latest updates. Like
Right.
if you have a Mac, it'll tell you when the latest update is there. And in the past, people would ignore it, but now these updates end up fixing what's called patches, right? End up fixing a lot of security vulnerabilities. And so whether it's your phone or your machine, you want to make sure, whether you're using Android or Apple, that you really are taking advantage of the newer releases, and that way, you're doing things that at least you can control. The third thing you can do is to, even as an individual, back up your data, right? This would seem like very non-trivial, but even though cloud ends up backing some level of data, it's always possible that your machine may get infected, they may have to reimage it, and you might lose a significant part of the data. And these days storage is cheap, and so as an individual, these are very simple things you could do. And the fourth thing, obviously, is your credential, right? In terms of whether, if your machine allows you the biometrics, which now Windows allows, Mac allows, can you leverage it? Can you leverage, not have the same name password every place? That's what the individuals can do. Now, at a company level, what the company can do is, there is a trend in the industry that's called zero trust. And the thought is that, in the past, we built a perimeter. Whoever was within the perimeter, we trusted, and we gave them access to everything. And clearly, it's so easy to get for hackers to come in, that model doesn't make sense. And so zero trust says, even if you're in or you're out, we don't have any trust in you. You have to validate yourself every time you want to do anything interesting. And so that's where, when you see, if you go to a banking site, you will see that if you may be able to see your balance, but if you're trying to do any transaction, it'll say, I sent you an SMS code, type that in, right? So whether you use it through a second factor authentication like that, or you ultimately use biometrics, which will be more convenient, companies have to adopt sort of a zero trust approach. The other thing companies can do is, zero trust says, if you already get breached, somebody will come in. How do you minimize the impact of that breach? And so I think there's a lot of companies who want to invest not just in the protection technology, which is what people did in the past, but in what we would call as isolation technologies.
Right.
That says that very quickly, if you detect something is wrong, can you isolate that thing in 30 seconds or less? Because if you can isolate it, it will not become the source of infection for everything. Because what happens is, as soon as somebody clicks on a link and a malware comes, first their machine gets infected, then the machine becomes a source for infection, for that infection to spread to the whole enterprise. So if you can stop it right in that one place, you can detect it fast and isolate it, then it will not spread, right? So it will become a non-event. So I think these things, which both the individual can do and then the company can do with the zero trust approach and things like dynamic isolation, multi-factor authentication, I think can go a long ways in solving what is a very complex problem.